We'll now proceed with the next topic, which is about input and output. In C++, we deal with data streams. Basically, a data stream is a sequence of data. Typically, it is composed of characters or numbers. For input, we have what we call the input stream, which is data used by our program. Usually, it comes from the keyboard, or the input to a program can also be a file. On the other hand, for the output, we have what we call the output stream, in which the typical destination of our program's output is the monitor, and it can also be written to a file. Let's talk about output using cout. Cout is an output stream which sends data to the monitor. This is why we primarily use this if we want our program to display its output to the monitor. As we've already mentioned, we use the insertion operator which inserts data into the cout stream. For example, we have the following statements. This statement is going to output whatever is the value contained by the variable number of bars. Specifically, this statement sends two items to the monitor. First, the value of the variable number of bars, and some other characters that we would like to display to our monitor. Here are some examples which uses cout. This one produces the same result as the previous example, only that we put each cout statement in separate lines. Here is another one. In this case, we are performing an arithmetic expression in which we would like to directly include it as part of a cout statement, such as this. Also, quoted strings should be enclosed in double quotes, such as this. And of course, we can't use single quotes. If we would like to display characters using the cout statement, this is what we need to do. We need to use double quotes. A blank space can also be inserted using cout. To do this, we simply enclose space between double quotes. If there are no strings in which a space is desired, as in this one. Next, let's talk about the include directives. If we will recall, include directives add library files to our programs. For instance, to make the definition of the cin and cout available to our program, we include the following include directive. If we will recall, we don't have to write codes in order for us to perform basic input and output routines to our program. Hence, we can simply put those include directives to include a collection of defined names. For instance, to make the names cin and cout available to our program, we simply put the following statement. In this case, we use the namespace std. We also have escape sequences in C++. In this case, escape sequences tell the compiler to treat characters in a certain way. For instance, this is the escape character. To create a new line in output, we use the new line escape character. What we do is, we enclose slash and n in double quotes. Whenever C++ sees this, it means that we would like to include a new line in our output. We can also do it this way. Aside from new lines, we also have other escape sequences such as tab, a backslash character, or even a quote character. We've already talked about how to output characters using certain cout statements. We can also do the same with real numbers. Specifically, these involve formatting real numbers. Real numbers, or known as the type double, produce a variety of outputs. If not properly formatted, these might look differently from what we expect it to show up in our monitor. For instance, we have the following assignment statement, and we would like to output whatever is the content of this variable. If not properly formatted, the output could be any of this. As you can see here, they might give out different outputs that we might not predict. But of course, we would like to display our output in the most appropriate way, such as this one. As we can see here, we don't want to output our number in this format, which is a scientific notation. We also don't want to output our number with too much zeros. And we also don't want to output our real numbers with only a single decimal point. In this case, this is the output that we would like to display. To do that, we need formatting which shows decimal places. In this case, cout includes tools to specify the output of type double, such as this one. We can simply use the following function. To specify that the decimal point will always be shown, we can use this. To specify the two decimal places will always be shown, we can use this. For example, we can use the following functions together with a cout statement, just like this one. In this case, before we put our final cout statement, we must set the formatting using the following functions. In this case, we use the following function to specify the fixed notation, and we would like to show the decimal places, and we would like to show two decimal places in the output of our program. Hence, when we finally call our cout statement and output the content of this variable of type double, we can expect that we will get the right formatting. Let's now talk about input using cin. As for input, cin is an input stream bringing data from the keyboard. We've already seen how cin works from our previous examples. As opposed with the cout, which uses the insertion operator, in the case of cin, the extraction operator is used to remove data to be used, such as in these examples. In this case, we use cin to get input from the keyboard and put this into the variable number of bars, same also with the variable one weight. The code above prompts the user to enter data, then reads two data items from cin, and then storing those input to their corresponding variables. When reading data from cin, multiple data items can be separated by spaces. Data is not read until the enter key is pressed. This allows the user to make corrections For instance, we would like to input multiple values on a single cin statement. We can do that by doing the following. We can simply separate each variable using the extraction operator. In this case, if we would like to input the value for these three variables, this would require us three space separated values such as this one. Then, we finally push the enter key to pass these values to these variables. Now that we know the difference between input and output, and specifically how to use cin and cout, we must also learn how to design our own input and output routines. For instance, we can use this to prompt the user for input that is desired. In that case, we can combine the use of cout and cin, just like this one. Notice that there's an absence of new line before using cin. It's because we would like to follow the cin right after this cout statement. In this case, we can also echo the input by displaying what was read, just like this one. In this case, we can give the user a chance to verify the data that they have entered, just like this one. Now that we already know what cin and cout is and how they are used in input and output, you can also try the following with yourself.